All right, welcome on board, everybody, once again. So, we're going to start with going through the basic terminology in IT in general. So in simple terms, I think if we can just understand, we have elements of hardwares. The hardware would be like your laptop you are using right now, right? Like your desktop, like your notebook, or even your phone, right? Then we have the computer softwares. The softwares run all the engine, the operating system, the drivers to make things work at the back end of your hardware. Then the network is simply connectivity of devices. That's all. So all of us today in your home, you have a network, right? The network in your home is connecting your home to your fridge, to your ring, to the kids' iPad, and to your own laptops. That's really what the network is, connectivity of multiple devices. Now, for some of us that also use printer, you also connect that to the network. That's it. That's really what network is. Now, let's take it a little bit big scale. In organizations, they also have network, right? So for those big organizations, we would call those wide area network, right? They have multiple locations. They've put fiber optic cables to connect their environment to each other. They would have wide area network. In your home, it's likely a local area network. Then all of us know what the internet is, right? So that one is self-explanatory. Now, within the computer hardware, every one of us, that's when if you have to buy laptop for your children, most of the time you would ask and say, what is the memory space, the storage information, the RAM? The larger the RAM, mostly you know that okay, the processing speed will be better, right? In general. So most times in the past, you will see people say, oh well, 4 GB RAM, 8 GB, 16. Of course, for most of what we do, to be honest, we don't need crazy excessive RAM. But if your kids are doing gaming, they are playing a lot of games, they do gaming competition, so we might want the RAM to be much more higher because of that, right? So that's just some of the basic things in general, okay? Now, a general historic context, all right? I'll skip through a lot of this, right? In the 40s, in the 70s, in the 80s, there have been a lot of evolution around computer processing space, right? We can agree the world has changed right now because in the past, we will talk about a lot of these um, processors. We had mainframe that could be the size of a house, huge. Now, with our flash drive, it has more capacity than what a mainframe had in the 50s. So the world has changed. A lot of changes, okay? It's not that we use technology, right? We live technology. Right now, we live technology. It's part of the ecosystem. That's why I always smile when somebody says, I have no idea of IT. No, it's not optional again. Sorry, I'm sorry. It's gone. That era is gone. All of us are part of IT. The only difference is that now, at the bigger scale, the accountability model changes. And honestly, let me tell you why most of you are here. The value I bring is not because what I'm teaching is something that is not there out there in the world. The value is we try to make complexity simple. That's it, really. That's the only value I think, in my opinion, and to challenge us towards the mentorship, towards getting a job. But that's the most important piece because this out there are tons of information that gets all of us just crazy because it's just too many information, right? But at the end of the day, it's all about the simplicity. How can we make complexity simple at the end of the day? That's the value I see, really. All right, so look at some of the hardwares, right? Some of us, I think, again, out of respect, I'll still just show you. So I don't mean to insult you that this is what a mouse look like, a laptop looks like. We all know what those are. These are what servers look like in the middle, and we have what we call rack. Those rack, you could put multiple layers vertically inside a rack. All right, those are popular things. Then routers, it's help us to send, Wi-Fi router with antennas for sending wireless signals. So it allows you to send a lot of wireless signals too. So at least those are just the basic things I think we should just have general knowledge of. Okay. Types of softwares. Remember again, there are so many softwares out there. Zoom that we are using today, Team, these are softwares out there, right? If you are downloading WhatsApp, it's a software out there. The software allows us to do certain functionalities, right? It could be for anything. We can design software. If you're part of our community within our AI space, 2 weeks ago, we did something called Screen Code Share, and we used that to develop a software, a screenshot. Man, the world has changed, and that's one thing I'll keep I'll keep drumming it just to make you know that of a truth, the world has actually changed. Things have changed. So we just have to be equally very savvy to know that, okay, it's a lot of changes out there. Okay. All right. Programming languages, ladies and gentlemen, let me just keep this simple. All right. There are so many of those programming out there, right, today. But at the minimum, I would like you to know Python, JavaScript, um, C plus. So let me just make you type. Everybody, can we just type Python? I would allow us to type right now. Can we just type Python, everybody, real quick? Can you just type Python? Now we can chat if you don't mind. Just type Python. Thank you. Thank you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not, you can remind me, I can teach basic Python. All right. None of us is a Python guru, but I'll just say basic. Maybe towards the end of our class, we can remind me and say, I said I will just talk about basic Python. Okay. Now, remember, ladies and gentlemen, don't say, hey, Mr. Man, hey, we need to talk Python. No, no, no. It's not part of our work. The reason I just said that is for some people, it will just be fun to kind of get you relaxed, that it's not rocket science. As a matter of fact, let me tell you the truth. One of the industry most concerned about AI today is programmers. I mean, honestly, maybe the last, maybe 3 years ago, I would have said, it's not going to be the case. I can't say that again in good faith. Yeah, my calculus has changed around that. Somebody said I use Python at work. Yes, exactly. Thank you, Taiwo. That's yeah. Maybe Taiwo can put a presentation, talk about Python basic intro, and you know what, ladies and gentlemen, we learn from each other. So anyone can present. If somebody is using it at work, he can just give us the basic overview of it. I play with it because I can use ChatGPT to give me a Python script on anything to build a solution, give me the basic of it, right? So it's not a big deal, in my opinion. So, but anyway, we can talk about that later. Thank you, Taiwo. Good job. All right. So, but that's what the programming languages are. These are the languages people use to build different codes within their environment. Okay. Software development. Everybody, I want us to remember this. Very important. Let me tell you this real life story. Okay. Some years back, my background initially, I used to be a coder. I wrote scripts in JavaScript then a long time ago, right? And I had this guy. Now, don't make that mistake. Don't think, oh yeah, this guy is smart because the programmer. No, 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 no. It's not a big deal. I just learned some minor coding in college then, and I used it to do. I have a master's in geomatics, right? And I used it to kind of build some script. Most of those scripts are already there. I just modify them, so it's not anyone can modify it. To be honest, so don't. It's not a big rocket science, okay? So, but there is something we call secure coding practice. Can we all type that real quick, everybody, if you don't mind? Just a secure coding practice, secure coding practice. Can we just type that, please, if you don't mind? And let's talk about that real quick. Can we all type secure coding practice? Everybody, please. Do me a favor, we ask you to type, just do me a favor and type. Those are things I know you will likely hear. And remember again, one of the things my mandate is everyone on my team, you would never shrink. You would never be in a conversation, you would be lost. Never. Because we would have tackled all the key areas I know you can ever meet. Now, there'll be some slight nuances unique to different environments. That's okay. But in terms of general, you'll be fine. So let me tell you what this is about, ladies and gentlemen. Every environment. So let me tell you, okay, so I backtrack. The example I gave was because of my background in scripting then, right? I had no knowledge of best practices. The guy that was my lead, equally, now that I know, I think about it, he had zero knowledge too. So one of the things we don't do, it's a no-no. We don't make changes in production. Let me tell you what that means. It means if I make a change in real life environment and anything breaks, it breaks everything. So imagine your bank account or information, the developers making changes in that environment and they make a mistake. That is devastation. That is a bad thing. But anyway, I go back. So this gentleman, he would just tell me, hey, make the changes. And of course, I was a young developer. I had no clue. Okay, yeah, I was just excited to be working. I just made the changes. And but later I think about it. I said, wait a minute, that's some crazy thing we did there because I was making changes in production. But it's a bad practice, right? Now, let's talk about, so you can see where this comes in. We have requirement gathering to understand what people need. We design the solution or the software architecture, meaning how it will be. So let's give an example. If you tell me, give me a software on how to send messages to my wife or husband during festive period, you know, I'm checking the design. Is it appropriate when you put the information of the spouse in there? Does the system save the information in the secure database? Because sometimes if you put your sensitive information, that could be a problem, right? Then coding, how are they coding it or developing it? What kind of language? Now, after they write their code, are they testing it? Can we all type the word testing? Can we all type the word testing? Then one more thing I want to make sure we know, if you don't mind, please do me a favor. I know this might be new for some of us. Don't stress it. I need you to know these three words. Oh, yeah, three. Number one, development environment. Can we type development environment real quick? Then do me a favor again. Type QA environment slash testing environment. QA and testing, many times they call them, they use them together. And finally, type the word production environment. Let me quickly tell you the story real quick. So most of the time, when you develop, let's say you say, well, guys, can you help me to make a change to the way my Bank of America software looks like? That's fine. My expectation is that whoever is making the change starts with making the change in the development environment. Once they make the change, I want them to move it to where? QA slash testing environment, because that's reasonable, right? That's fair because I'm saying test it, right? Is I think it's fair, right? You can all agree with me. I'm saying, okay, you're making your change. That's okay. You're moving it to a testing environment. Then after you move it to testing and we feel good, tell me the next place we are moving it to. Production. Production means the real deal. So we are saying don't move it to the real deal until you've tested it. Very important. If any environment does not have that, it's a moving time bomb. You know why? It means I could sneak malicious code into your production environment some years back. Just to backtrack for a second, there used to be a popular attack in the banking sector called salami attack and roundup attack. You know what they do? They will put a code in production environment and it will start taking people's money in cents. So let's say, so for some of us here now, maybe you have 1,032 cents in your account. No problem. Every month I remove 5 cents out of your money. You will never know. I will not make it go from 1,000 to 900 and something because you suspect. I'll just make sure it is when it is in 0.3231. Then we'll be taking 2 cents every day, or maybe every month. Guess what? If I take 2 cents from 20 million customers every month consistently for the next 1 year, 2 years, you are just making millions of dollars doing nothing, right? But that was a big attack in the 90s, very early 2000, very big attack then. But because of stuff like that, we need to have secure practices to test whatever code we do. And that's the whole gist about this. Then, of course, after you test, we are deploying it, moving it to live environment. Then after that is done, we now do general maintenance of what we've done. Okay, the maintenance at times, let's think about it, ladies and gentlemen. On your phone today, all of us, I can bet you within 1 month, your service provider would have sent you something to update or upgrade your system. Most of us would have done that, right? It's a normal thing that happens. Mostly is maintenance. People keep sending up patches to update the software in general. Okay. All right. Hopefully that explains this a little bit. IT career paths. I just sneaked it in so that people can say, oh, these are different areas people have careers in IT, right? You can go to development, you can be system, you can be project, you can be blah, blah, blah. We are into the GRC space, okay? These are just cloud. versus on-prem. Let's keep this simple. This is a good one I'd like to talk about for some of us that are core IT. Let's keep it simple. Let me tell you one funny, crazy thing. Real life story. I had a client and they were in our design with this client. We realized they were moving to the cloud. Fine, that's not a problem. And they had option of deploying a system to the cloud. And don't overstress it, ladies and gentlemen. All I'm saying is that they have a system, right? And this system is a server. Let's say it's a server. And this server, the option we have is to buy a physical box of a device, right? The device will cost us about, I think, about 30 something thousand dollars. So let's say $40,000, right, for this device, excluding the maintenance agreement or service agreement with the client. So let's say I buy a Cisco server, Dell server, HP server, Lenovo server, any of this big organization, I buy their server. Naturally, you also have contract with them, right? So that they can maintain it if there's an issue. So that will be extra cost. Then guess what? Sometimes you might need to hire somebody to actually also, you know, to maintain it. Now, guess what, ladies and gentlemen, one crazy thing. The crazy thing is this though. The same server, if I deploy the functionality in the cloud, okay, it will cost us. Can somebody take a wild guess? I want you to see, tell me if this is not crazy. Okay, remember I said if you were to buy it yourself, it will cost you 130,000. Sorry, it will cost you about 40,000. Can somebody take a wild guess how much it will have costed if we move that same thing to the cloud? Just take a wild guess, everybody. Just give me a wild guess. I want to see what you guys, you'll see why I say this is crazy. Yeah, being diplomatic. Somebody saying lesser. 1 billion. Ooh, that would be crazy. Maybe 20K, 4,000, 300K, 50K. Now, penny on a dollar. I like that. Now, remember again, if you're buying it physically, it's going to be more expensive naturally. If you're moving it to the cloud, typically it's cheaper, it's scalable, you can deploy quicker. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Because cloud is cheaper. Cloud has either public, private, and we'll talk about that in a bit. Guess what? It was less than $500. Let's pause. Think like a business person. You could buy something for $40,000 physically, excluding potentially hiring somebody to do the administration and all that stuff. Moving the same thing to the cloud, in this case, was going to cost about $400. It's crazy, man. But that's the reality. This is real life, right? I'm telling a real life story, right? So it's almost crazy. How do you even go and tell the client that, well, this is crazy. It's crazy. It's less than, it's 1%, not even 10%, 1% from 40,000 to $400, 1% of the cost. But that's what people are dealing with. That's why a lot of companies today are moving towards the cloud. It's scalable, it's honestly cheaper, and now it's even much more, quite honestly, getting more effective because then the problem people had before was security, but they are gradually even getting and figuring out the security part of it right now. So even security part of it, you know, somebody said, I need to move my house to the cloud. You know what? I like that. That's a good angle to look at it. Hey, why don't I move the house to the cloud? It's cheaper, right? But that's crazy. Okay, that's a new one. I've not heard that before. Okay, that's a good one. But but that's the reality we deal with right now. So for all of us, at least have an idea of why people make that decision. That's the reason. Nobody make decision in isolation, but that's the core reason. Cost is always a big one for most organizations. Cyber threats, we'll talk about a few of this. Anytime you hear the word DDoS, can we all type that word? DDoS. Everybody, can we type it? Distribution denial of service. That's what it means. Now, let me keep it simple. Anytime you hear the word DDoS, most times, look at it like a tsunami of attack. Can we all type that word? Now, again, I just made that up, okay? Just say a tsunami of attack. Tsunami of attack. All that is saying is that we said, okay, you know what? Let's go all in. We get a lot of bots, robots that are just going to be attacking and flood a server to a point the server will lose the capacity to operate because you've overloaded it with so much attack. Then it will be a buffer overflow, it will be crazy, then it will start misaligning and it will start having errors. So most time when you see a distribution denial of service, mostly you will start thinking of potentially a state actor, meaning, you know, remember, ladies and gentlemen, now it's not a joke. A lot of countries are really attacking. If you guys remember the story that happened, the North Korea government, there was an unflattering video that was coming out about the leader of North Korea then by Sony in California. And they threatened Sony that if you release this video, we're going to go all in. Ladies and gentlemen, before they said that, they've already attacked Sony. They had everything, the number of Sony. They've entered the network of Sony. So they are not bluffing. But Sony did not know that. Sony went ahead and released the video. It was a big nightmare. They released a lot of private personal information of Sony and opened it to the public. Well, very embarrassing, very big deal. So this is serious stuff. State actors is worse because gone are the days you need a lot of sophisticated softwares to attack people. Now, people can just buy softwares that are 50 bucks, 100 bucks online, and the effect will be almost similar. So it's a big deal, very big deal, right? Okay. All right, let's move on. All right, another thing I would like, earlier with well, you hear the word the bandwidth is maximum rate at which data can be transmitted along a network. So, bandwidth, what's the rate in transferring data? LAN, we say local area network, WAN, wide area network. All of us can agree. A firewall, let's keep it simple. It's really set of rules we've built to say certain information don't come into my system, certain information you can't go out. So it's really set of rules we've built within our system. Can we all type the word firewall rules real quick, everybody? Firewall rules. Put that word rules in front of it. Firewall rules. Some people, this is their job. Maybe some of them are on the call too. They just, make modification to firewall rules. And ladies and gentlemen, many times the vendors would have told you their best practice rules on what you should enable and disable. Sometimes they even have AI integrated to check your network and they will make recommendations. So that's even much more robust and easy to even maintain now. Crazy, crazy stuff. The world is just getting better. That all I challenge all our team is make sure you're part of the super users that know how to make your life efficient. And you'll see me teach you the ways we're going to use AI a lot in our program to be efficient. Um, a year ago, 2 years ago, we didn't do this, but the world has changed. So I have to make you more efficient in your thinking. Okay. All right, let's go another one. Router. This is the network device that forwards data packet between different computer networks, right? So most of the things that are sent within your network, they come in form of packets. So when you now don't stress this, ladies and gentlemen. So let's say you are sending information within your internet, you're sending data and all that. The way it's sent within the network is in packets. You don't care about that. We don't see it physically. But can we just write the word packet? Packets. Just type packets. So all the information sent is coming in form of packets. Now, again, I'm not expecting you that you're a guru in it, but at least you know that, oh, when I'm sending this stuff, it's going in a form of packets. That's the old gist about it, okay? All right, let's talk about switch. Switches mostly they connect devices together on a computer network. You can actually make a switch connect all your printers together, all your laptop together. It's a way you can actually connect different devices together within a network. Okay. Um, so many times you might see, people having certain switches connected to different devices. Again, don't stress this. You're not a networking person, but at least have an idea of, okay, these switches are connecting all the printers together. This is connecting all the servers in this floor together. This is connecting all the servers in another floor together. So that's really the concept of it in general. All right, let's see. All right. Okay, let's see another one real quick. Again, mostly for IT, remember they always think about hardware cost, license cost, service cost, IT staffing cost. In a budgeting, from a budgeting angle, this is the biggest part for IT, to be honest. IT is always thinking of, okay, you know, okay, you know what? Historically, do you know what they call IT? In case you don't know, they call us IT cost center. We are always incurring cost. Every time you're telling me, oh, we need to buy server, we need to buy this. So people don't, they they could be disrespectful, let's put it that way, because they feel we are not adding dollars to their environment. So now IT leadership is always very picky to tie our IT operations to profitability or to business cases that you can say, look at the dollar value I bring. So you're not just coming to meet the leadership that, oh, I want to buy server. Oh, I want to buy a new network. Oh, there's a thing called cloud now. We want to buy it. Oh, there's something called AI now. And that could be, I can see why people are suspicious of IT because IT many times, if you are not careful, you're just going to be buying tools because it's easier. Why will I? "Oh, okay, just buy two. Oh, okay, this just, but tools will not solve our problems. We have to make sure we can solution your environment rightly before you select the right tools. Okay. All right. That's just about it. I think this is fair. Think about yourself today. If you want to buy a new TV in your home, you're going to think about the cost of the TV. What about the licensing? Are you putting Netflix and all this Hulu stuff in it? Am I going to pay extra money on it? You find out. Service cost. If there's a maintenance issue and this thing goes bad in a year, am I going to think about the warranty on it? Yes. IT staff cost. If you are part of the Geek Squad in Best Buy, for those of us in North America, that's staff cost because if you are subscribed to Geek Squad subscription, they are paying for their staff with their subscription. You are paying them, right? That's all it is, really. So that's the gist of it. So even for us, in our local way, we still do the same thing too. All right. Okay, let's see some the importance of IT, of course, understand how IT support key business process, always tied to the business, map IT system to business function, understand what are the IT critical systems. Ladies and gentlemen, think about it. If I ask you, let's forget cyber and all this for a second. If I ask you, you know, um, if I ask you right now and say, how would you classify a system as critical or not? Type. Let's see what you guys think. So let's say, I'm asking the team for you to consider a system critical. Tell me some of your factors in your mind. If I say in your house, what would you consider a critical system in your home? Some of you tell me, oh, my work laptop. Oh, my kid's school laptop. Oh, you're thinking of because those are the ones you feel because it has value. One of them is what you use for your work to build, it has more financial reward or benefit. So somebody said expensive, yes. But in the world of business, it's not just the how expensive. We're thinking of which of them has security implication for us, which of them has regulatory implication for us to get us into trouble with fine or regulators, which of them has. So we are thinking of many elements, right? In that from that angle for us, right? So think from that angle that okay, for it to be critical, are we keeping financial record there? Are we keeping health record there? Are we keeping sensitive information, intellectual property? So you're thinking of many things in your mind that makes you decide if it is critical or not. Okay. And every one of your device, okay, I like somebody's comment, but can we all write this together? Say every device has an IP address. Okay. Those are those 4-digit numbers that you see randomly generated. Can we all type that real quick? Every device has an IP address. Let's go real quick. So that's why let me challenge you today. Every device has IP address. Let me challenge you all today. In your home, whatever service provider you have, do me one favor, just one. Check the softwares they have to monitor your home network. I bet you they do, and you'll be surprised that every one of your kids' device, your own device, the IP address will be showing there and how it connects. As a matter of fact, if you have kids that they have to go to school, but they are sneaking in to watch iPad or watch games and all that stuff, no problem. Go to your software for your service provider, just click on boom, it will remove them from the network. Or you can schedule it and say, 7 p.m., automatically shut down every network in the house. It will. Yeah, it's there. Yeah, but sometimes we're just not, we don't really take a look at it. But yeah, we have this functionality there for all of us. Virtually all those guys have it, really. Okay, so at least we get it. So the moral of the story for my people that always say, no, I have no IT knowledge, but this is really what it's all about. This is really it. At the end of the day, this is the core of it, okay? All right, let's go to, okay, I sneaked in another one real quick. And I want to do a lot of justice, at least for the next 30 minutes or so, before we now get into the cyber side of it, okay? Now, popular things we will hear, cloud computing, for all of us, don't overthink it. If I say cloud, don't look at the sky and say, where's the cloud? Yeah. This is just a huge facility people have put together, and they've put all of these devices and they've said, listen, all of you in the world, why do you have to waste your time to build stuff in your home? We can build it and you can just get access from us. That's it. Amazon started it, AWS, the practice just exploded. The world saw a revolution that we've never seen before. Suddenly, of course, like every new technology, everybody was skeptical of it that it's probably not going to work. Or and my angle for long was how would they deal with security? But guess what? They are getting way better in security now. Way better. Zero trust elements, access control, checking for regulatory compliance issue, integrating with other tools. Every tool today would have an integration point with AWS. So they have open source connection to so many tools. So now they are just playing with so many technology that now they've matured to a point that they are almost, if not even as good or even better than your on-prem, meaning where you keep your regular server in the past in your offices, because the security they have there is equally as good. And ladies and gentlemen, even if they don't have security, guess what you have? Most people now have cyber insurance. So even if AWS screws up and you have good cyber insurance, that you look at the cost benefit and you say, well, if I'm paying X amount for cyber insurance, worst case, I'm covered. So that's the way most businesses are really looking at it right now. Okay. And AWS is big, so I think they'll be fine. Public versus private. Okay, let me step back. I don't know if they'll be fine, but they have good technology, good engineers, resources, and there's always enhancements. But you never know. Life is funny. I hope you won't wake up tomorrow and realize, okay, there's something crazy, a vulnerability somewhere that they didn't know about. Who knows? Okay, let's talk about public versus private. Let's keep that simple, ladies and gentlemen. Public versus private is like the way we argue about you're going to the public school or you're going to the private school. Public school might be good, but we have more students from every walks of life coming to public school. Private school is elitist, it's exclusive, it's just for us, political kids and alumni kids. You're going to Harvard, Yale, private schools versus we UT folks, right? So the point I'm making is that at the end of the day, it's preference, but private is more expensive, it's more exclusive. The same thing for public versus private. For starters, some people just start with public. For sensitive part of their business, they might make private. Then sometimes they use a combination, and we call that hybrid. Okay, so just be aware of that. So can we all type that together real quick in case? And again, anytime I ask you to type, these are the things I feel conversation and live can get you to talk about. So let's talk about it real quick. Put hybrid, hybrid, private, and public cloud. That's the concept, really, at the end of the day. Now, who are the players there? Let's talk about the players. For some of you, you might not have heard of them. Let's talk about the players in the world of cloud. There are many of them, but let's focus on the big guys. So for the big guys, can we all type AWS? Then we have Microsoft Azure. Now, don't be like me that, I'm from Ibadan, so I may call it Azure. So don't call it Azure, right? Just it's Azure, Microsoft Azure. All right, AWS, Microsoft Azure. Then we have Google Cloud, Google Cloud. Then there are some open source systems out there. There's Oracle Cloud, I believe, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, OCI, Oracle Cloud. There is what's the other one? Is it GoDaddy? There's one other one, but there are so many of them. But to be honest, most people, Alibaba is a big one too. But most people will just stick with the one they know because look, if I'm a VP of operation, honestly, I would want to stick with the one I know that okay, you know what? If the chips are down, at least all of us will know that you won't fire me because it's a big company. So people don't take risk on service providers they select, I think. Okay, let's go. All right, good, 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 good. Hopefully that was helpful. Now we're gonna jump to another one real quick. I have 20 minutes to just get out of my introductory mode. All right, I'm gonna go to the next one. Again, this next one I'll be fast a little bit, so pardon me, folks. Okay, for my let me see. I'll just be very fast, very fast, very fast on this one. All right, so let me quickly share again and get into the weeds of this one. So for this one, let's see. Let me stop sharing and share this other one real quick. Okay. Uh, okay. Let's quickly. All right. I need to set something. Set that later. Okay. Let's go. Basics of network. Introduction to network. Again, I just wanted to cover areas that I feel live might throw at you at some point. All right. Basic of networking for novice. Okay. Let's talk about this real quick. What is a network? I've said it. Connectivity of multiple devices. All right. What are the components? We could have servers, clients, routers, hubs, Wi-Fi, cables, everything you have in your home. That's a network, right? Everything connecting to your system at home. Those are the network. Types of network, we've talked about LAN, local area not network, wide area network, personal area network, common network protocols. Can we all type the word communication? So in the world of network, there's a way we communicate. It's like the language we speak. Can we all type communication? Now, for us in the internet, everybody at least please know this one. And I think we can all agree with this one. When we communicate, we use HTTP, right? HTTP on the web. All of us use that. Can we type HTTP? At least that one we can talk about web, right? The other one is put S in front, HTTPS. S means secure. If you are checking a website and it does not have the S, run away, because that is likely a malicious site that could get us in trouble. So run away immediately, right? Because it means it's not a secured communication method. One of the ways hackers steal from us is they compromise our communication protocols, how our network communicate. Now, anytime you hear the word file, right? File, we are transferring data from somewhere. Always remember FTP. Can we all say FTP? Everybody, FTP, file transfer protocol. Let's take it again. Internet access, HTTP, HTTPS. All of us, at least if you are very observant, you remember. If you go to any website, you see that HTTPS dash dash slash slash www.skillway.com, right? You put your stop there. That is what we're talking about. It's a protocol to communicate in the web. If you are sending files, we have file transfer protocol. We have another one, SMTP for mail. Okay. Now there are many protocols out there, but at least in your mind, then we have the TCP/IP also, right? Which is just the transmission protocol for us. So I won't spend too much time on that because I just want to make sure that you know that at the minimum, these are to communicate within network environment in general. So in your mind, just say, oh, okay, this is the way the system communicates. And if this access is breached, it's just like somebody having access to our communication, then you can violate and you can use it maliciously. Imagine we have a top secret communication that could violate or compromise our sensitive information of our kids or family relationship. Then you don't want those kind of information out there, right? So that's the same concept here, because those are the things malicious actors are looking for in general. Okay. A general history of computer network, find time to play around and just see some of the historic context around this when you have time. And don't worry, all this information is going to be available. Okay. All problems in computer science can be solved by another level of indirection, right? This is just some satire that, oh boy, there's always a level of indirection somewhere or the other. Um, Common network topology. Can we all type the word topology in case somebody asks you, um, what are the network topology within your environment? Everybody, okay, interview. Well, if it's analyst question for GRC, they won't ask you this, but just give me a heads up. So, network topology, common one is boss, star. As the name implies, star is just in a star shape. Ring is in a circle shape. Mesh is in different element shape. Then, so just put those, yeah, just put those. All right. So if I ask you, tell me about some network topology, at least just tell me the ones I just talked to you about right now. And that should be good. All right. Okay. Again, I'm repeating some of this because this is focused on, we have routers, switches, ops, repeaters, bridges, modems. Okay. The router connect multiple network together and direct traffic between them. Switches connect devices together on a single local network. Ops connect multiple devices together on a network. Repeaters generate and amplify signals. Some of you will notice if you are using a service provider like T-Mobile, they will give you like a repeater to move the strength of your network. You know, sometimes some devices can play multiple roles, especially nowadays, right? So, bottom line, ladies and gentlemen, just have an idea of okay, these are some of those things out there that people um, set up at the back end in general. Bridges connect multiple network together, modems. In the old days, you'll see our phone, we connect the modems to the phone then. But now a lot of changes have happened, but just know at least the big one I think you should know for all of us, routers, switches, ops, those are popular ones out there, and bridges. All right, let's talk about this for a second. Can we all type OSI model, everybody? OSI model, OSI model, OSI model. Now let me be honest with you. If you're on this call, I have a feeling for some of us that are non-technical, what you're thinking is, all right, dude, this is crazy. What the heck is all this whole thing? You know, which one is OSI model? What is all this whole story? Don't stress it. All all it's saying is that in any environment in IT, all of the devices in IT, there is a model whereby every one of those devices falls into somewhere in the model. That's all. So if you are using your cable, your network, your bridges, your application, it will be inside one of these layer. There are 7 layers. So can we all type this layer together? So if you are taking an exam in networking, I can assure you they would always ask you, this is a popular question they will ask that, okay, what is layer one? What is layer two? And don't worry, I'll set the diagram around this for you all to just have an idea of it. But let's type, and I want us to just, let's take the first one, application layer allows access to, okay, sorry, uh, let's, let me see if I have the diagram next. 1 second. Okay, there's a diagram I like. I'll show that, I'll send it to the group, but it will show you each of the layers and the diagram so you can see for, you know what? Sorry, guys, let me just quickly pull it up so it will make it easy to understand. 1 second. Give me 1 second. So you guys will see it. It will make more sense actually. All right. I think I have it here. Let's see. Okay. All right. Let me share my screen so that we can all just play around this together and see some of the real life example. Okay, let me show you guys this. Let me share my screen. All right. So this is an image that shows you physical layer. You can see here, physical layer is talking about cables, right? Physical one. Data layer is talking about switches. Network layer, our routers. Transport layer, how it's sending it. TCP, session layer. And I'll take a screenshot of this and get it to you. But this is what it looks like. So don't overthink it. All it's saying is that for everything we do in networking and everything in tech, it belongs to somewhere in that whole process. Okay. And so don't over stress it. Again, I just want to make you aware of it from a novice point of view. That okay, there are some areas in IT that they have in layers. So in case you hear that word, nobody would you will not feel lost that oh, I've never heard of OSI model. All right, it's just a model that breaks down the different areas in tech. That's all. Okay, let's get back to let's see. All right, we have 20 more minutes to be done with the tech part of it, the intro side of it. So my non-IT people, all right, we're getting closer. Let me see if I can sneak this into our presentation. Where's the OSI model? Let me see if I can sneak this in. 1 second. All right, I think I'm able to. All right, this looks good. Okay, I think we have it here now. All right, cool. Yeah. So I'll keep it in our presentation so we can, I'll save that. So when I save it to, send it to you, you guys will have access to it. At least you can relate with that. Okay. All right, let's go to another one real quick. Let's go to, I think this is straightforward already. We've talked about it. Okay, let's just talk about this one for a second. Remember I said protocol is how we communicate, right? In IT. For us, checking the web, you can see HTTP for those of us getting stuff from the web. HTTPS is for secured web. FTP, when you're uploading a file, sending a file, it's going through FTP. SMTP, when we are sending email. Then SSH, when you're logging in remotely to a network, it has to go through a secured SSH. So let me ask you, quick interview. Let's quickly let everybody, let me see you guys answer me. All right, it's open to everybody. Tell me what protocol this will be applicable to. You are sending me an email on important, urgent land matters. I like somebody's been sneaky on me. Jamina is sneaking on me. I like that though. Well, I'll tell you why. Okay. FTP. Oh man. Okay. Okay. I like your thinking. Okay. But let's pause. Looking at it here, generically, we are sending me email. Yes, SMTP. But you can also make a case that if you are sending it through the internet, HTTP would also be involved, right? So I may agree. Well, sorry, HTTPS. So Pedro, I agree. So you can make a case for it, but you know what I mean, right? That okay, generally the protocol responsible for that email is the SMTP. You know, I think it's is it server mail transfer protocol? I don't remember the first S. Can somebody check that S for me? You know, is it service mail transfer simple mail transfer protocol? Thank you. Yeah. So it's mail. So I would agree. Okay, let's take another one. So you're working remotely, COVID happened. Now you have to log in through VPN. What protocol are we thinking about? Yes, SSH. Okay, perfect. All right. What about now you're logging into zoom.us or kahoot.it? What are we thinking of? What protocol are we thinking of? Okay, you did HTTP, but in reality, that HTTP might be risky though. Yeah, I get it. I get what you're saying though. But in reality, okay. Let me backtrack. You are logging to your Bank of America account. Which of the protocol would you use? It's in the web. Yes, sir. HTTPS. Perfect. Okay, that's fair. All right. What about I'm downloading a video from Google Drive? I'm downloading video from Google Drive. Perfect. Okay, let's take it if a step further. I'm downloading your social security card from my HR system down. All right, that's the sneaking one. I'm sneaking. I'm sneaking on you guys. Part two. Part two. Can we give part two round of applause? Give him some love. He got it. I was trying to trick him, and he got me there. FTP. So there's FTP, but there's FTP, SFTP, secured FTP. Can we all type that together? I know I didn't put that here, but I was waiting for someone to. Anytime you put S in front of it, it simply means secured. You know what I did? I played game with you guys. I said, I know it's FTP, right? But I said HR information, social security information, or payroll information. Then I'm not going to send it through regular FTP. It has to be through SFTP, secured. S simply means secured FTP. All right. You guys are awesome, man. Okay, that was awesome. You guys are super awesome. I love it. But honestly, that's really the gist of it, right? Remember, protocol is just how do we communicate within each of this environment. HTTP, web, FTP file, SMTP, emails, SSH, remote work. Let's keep it simple for a start. Okay, good job, folks. I love it. Okay, I'll skip this one. You know, you guys will see IPv4 versus IPv6. Most people are moving to IPv6 now. Internet Protocol version 6. It's more, it has more robust keys right now, but that's the trend right now. But let's leave that for a second. Um, some basic essentials for network security. All of us can agree. Let's go to your home. It's fair to say I expect my network provider to have firewall. I expect when files are sent in my network, it should be encrypted. I expect my password to be strong. That's why we all have to use strong password. I expect my service provider to use updated softwares, right? And ultimately, you all are not going to grant everybody access to your network, right? So we have to limit user permission. Those are basic hygiene within network. All right, let's keep that simple, okay? And that's it on that one. All right, we have 10 more minutes to do the next ones, okay? Let me ask my non-IT technical folks. Has this been helpful so far? Again, this is the first time we are sneaking in the basic introduction as part of the program for a start. But honestly, I think even for our experienced folks, those experiences, those real life cases tend to kind of juggle our memories too. So let's see. You can go back and read it as much as you can. But yeah, let me stick in another one. Let me show you number 3. Okay. All right. Number 3, don't worry, some of this concept, the next one I'm going to run through because we talked about it already. So you guys be ready for me. You guys will be mad at me, but I'll run through it real quick. Okay. All right. Let's talk about this one. This one is fun. This is just specifically talking about cloud. So I just pulled something together about cloud. And so pardon me, I'll be fast on this one. Okay. All right. We talked about public versus private already. So we've talked about this. We've talked about the different cloud solution out there. S3 is for AWS. Okay. So I would um, these are the definition I want to just call out a little bit. So there's IaaS, infrastructure as a service, PaaS, platform as a service, SaaS. Most of us are always using the SaaS, software as a service. That's the popular one we mostly use. All right. Now there's serverless, which is the trend now. There's function as a service, which execute specific function for organization now. There's desktop as a service. There's security as a service now. Everybody's putting something as a service now. It's crazy. But hey, who knows? But the bottom line is I would like you to just take a look at this. These are the acronyms, what they mean. So the one you are using, like all of us using Gmail, WhatsApp, it's a SaaS solution. Everything is in the cloud. Okay. That's what all of us are using right now. However, if I'm a developer and I'm working on different things, infrastructure, then I'll probably use platform as a service. If I'm working on infrastructure, the networking, the server storage, and all that stuff, I'll probably use infrastructure as a service. So those are the nuances and difference between it. But for most of us, um, somebody says CISO as a service, DPU as a service. Okay, yeah, I mean, you know what? Hey, everything is as a service now. I think it's a popular. Everybody just want to make it sound slick. All right. And we talked about this already. So take time to go read this up and just see the different public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud. The same thing we talked about, but you can read it on your own. I intentionally just put it here so that you can have time to read it yourself. What are the benefit of now you can see this cloud storage? It allows it to be scalable, good backup, global access, pricing, just the same thing we talked about before, but at least you can document and say it. The databases in the cloud now, they are super cheap. People have access to terabytes of data and they're paying a fraction of what they would have paid ever. So it's really, really cool. And these are some of those, service provider we talked about: AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, Mongo, Atlas, Oracle. So everybody will make a case on the one they want to use in their environment. Um, Another one I just want to quickly talk about: cloud security. Of course, don't worry about this. We'll talk about security later. Identity access management, network security, encryption to make sure we have encryption around all the data we have in our environment. So those are some good practices in general. Then this is just getting into how to manage those cloud. Um, what is the management process within your organization? What is important? What are the key activities you would have defined in your business too? These are just some general guidelines for cloud. Okay, so cost optimization. This I would leave, but read it if you feel you want to get into cloud more to understand why people use it. Um, Cloud migration. Always remember, many times people migrate from on-prem to cloud. Can we all type that word? On-prem to cloud. Can we all type the word on-prem to cloud? On-prem to cloud. So if you're in the hospital system, you have IT guys in the hospital. They keep all your local files in the server room in your hospital. But now we are saying it's too expensive to buy server, all this new infrastructure. Why don't we move everything we have in the cloud, in the on-prem, in my facility, move it to the cloud? That's what people are doing right now. That's really the whole idea of it. Migration. Of course, when you're migrating, you have to think about the strategy around your migration, right? You want to make sure that you have it properly done, the security around it, how scalable it is, the oversight you have around it. Those are the things we are thinking about. You know, it's on-prem. It's a common word. On-prem is just on-premise to cloud, right? So, but the short word is on-prem. Cloud carriers, you see people call themselves cloud architect, cloud engineer, blah, blah, blah. Bottom line is everybody is different. I can teach you EC2, AWS within 10 minutes. I mean, the basics of it, right? You can deploy a server within 5 minutes. It's not a big deal. They are straightforward. And they give you free tier for the first, I think for your first, you just put your payment information and it will be like a pay as you go model. So just straightforward. But anyway, I just kept that in case somebody wants to know more about cloud. I kept that information there. You can read it up if you want to. Okay. And that's it about cloud for my folks that are thinking about cloud. Let me go to the other one. Basics of operation technology. All right, let's talk about this real quick. Aha, don't worry, folks. I'll be done in a few minutes on intro stuff. Then we get into our cyber. Don't worry, we're in good hands. We're in good, but I just want to build that baseline foundation for us. For those of us that have never heard of this word, let me quickly tell you. I think this one will be useful to everybody that is on this call for sure, guaranteed, actually. Um, this was my specialty for many, I did this as I was the head of operation technology for a global consulting firm. This was my core field. So think about your refineries, your transportation, utilities, nuclear stations, for power lines, oil and gas, all of those critical infrastructure within the US, North America, and general US, Canada. Um, we needed to make sure that the security around it is big. It's a big deal because it has safety elements, right? And It's life threatening. So it's national security issue. It can obstruct the our normal way of life as a country. So it's a big deal. So this is just to give you an idea of it. The main difference between OT and IT, in my opinion, is just for IT, many times they care mostly about there's something called CIA. We're talking about that in cyber, you know, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. In operation technology, guess what they care about more? IT cares about confidentiality, right? And maybe integrity. Guess what? Uh, I guess I've told you the answer. Guess what operation guys think about more? They are focused on availability. That's honest truth. You know why? If you're a plant manager, do you think you care about confidentiality? Would you allow somebody to shut down your plant because they are doing any maintenance? No, because shutting down your plant, one, you're going to lose bonuses. Two, it can affect lives. Think about a pharmaceutical company manufacturing oncology drugs, right? This is life and death situation. And you tell them to shut down their plant because of some service maintenance stuff. They will never agree. It's going to be a hell of work. So they do what they call air gap, So they have air gap network where they are not connected to the internet at all, you know. So, but anyway, let's just talk about them so you have an idea of what the whole story is about. Overview of OT, blah blah blah. Let's talk about it. This is some historic context around it. You might hear the word SCADA system, ICS, Industrial Control Solution. Can we all type the word ICS real quick? Industrial Control Solution. ICS. It's called Industrial Control Solution. Yes, SCADA is a bigger one. If you drive a Tesla, think of your think of your Tesla as an industrial control solution. So it's actually a machine of its own. The maintenance, the updates on the devices, every component of it is part of that solution itself, right? That's the way I want us to think about it. Okay. Um, and in operations technology, there's a lot of hardware and softwares in it too, but the focus is so much on the hardware side of things. Okay. Um, so SCADA means supervisory control and data acquisition system, mostly for monitoring and controlling industrial processes in general. There's also something called PLC, programmable logical controllers. Now, let me tell you how cool this is. All of us that are every manufacturing center you see, especially the modern ones, they use this PLC. They are the ones that control your robots, the hams. So you see your robotic working. The PLC is what controls them, connects the hardware to your software. So it's like a man is in the middle. It's the one really making things move. As a matter of fact, if you guys follow the news some years back when the Iranians were suspected of doing nuclear uh, reactors for military purpose. The accusation was that the West and the Israeli Mossad were instrumental to attack a PLC, and it made the centrifuge to rotate way higher. So let's say like 1,000 more capacity, and it led to explosion of the uraniums. So all the centrifuges just exploded, and it delayed that program by about 8 years then. But that was what was used, the PLC attack. Probably will show you guys a video about it later. Then we have the remote terminal units for data collection and controls at remote site, RTU. But these are the common terms you will see in the world of OT. Okay, now you can see here, you can see the factory. This is the robotic I'm talking about. You can see smart grids, building automation. All of this is the new normal. Guess where the attackers are focusing on right now? Safety, safety, safety. People are attacking critical infrastructure. As a matter of fact, some years back, maybe a year or two, some attackers from suspected Middle East attacked Israel, a swimming pool, public swimming pool, and they controlled the number of chlorine that was coming into the public swimming pool. It was a warning shot, but they said they could have deployed or disbursed excessive chlorine to make people sick and potentially die. So this is safety now. It's no longer some theory. This is real life, right? This is safety. This can people can die. It's serious stuff, right? The same thing if I take over a manufacturing lab for oncology drugs and I change the dosage from 50 mg to 10 mg and it looks normal and legal, only for you to give patients and realize that the dosage has been changed through automation. So these are real life things that can, you know, affect any society. It's a big deal. Okay. Um, so automation of again, I just wanted to capture it a little bit. Now, one of the challenges I'll just tell you about OT versus IT. IT is very embracing of technology, right? Enterprise IT. Okay, IT. Okay. Guess what? OT. And when I say OT, operation technology, think about a manufacturing plant that has been manufacturing, um, you know, food for the last 50 years before IT even became anything. Do you think they want to change anything they do? Most people, most of those big plants don't want to change nothing. So let me tell you the big challenges they always have. Challenge number one is their systems are old, legacy system. Now, can we all type this? Anytime you hear the word legacy is equals to old. Can we all say legacy equals to old? So imagine if your old car is a Ferrari and now you bought an Aston Martin. You guys said that's awesome. Amen. I wish you all the best. What is going to be, what will I call your legacy? Which one is the legacy? You just bought an Aston Martin, you were using a Ferrari. Which one is your legacy? Ferrari, yes. So for those of us that are not IT, anytime you hear the word legacy, it's really saying your old system. That's all. So you might hear the word, well, is it your legacy application? Don't start Googling in your meeting and saying, what application is called legacy? They're just saying, is it an old application? Now, you might hear the word again. Let me quickly sneak in another one. Somebody can ask you and say, are we going to do vanilla implementation? Don't think of ice cream, okay? Vanilla simply means the way the vendor typically provide it, right? All of us are using vanilla implement plain. I like that. Yes, Temitope plain. It's just plain. So for example, you can customize your Google Drive, right? Your Google Mail, the way it looks. But all of us use vanilla. Hey, why do I have time to customize how my Google should look in the mail? So we use vanilla implementation. That's a common term. So you might say it was vanilla implementation versus, you know, customized implementation. So if it's not vanilla, it is customized. Can we all type the word customized real quick? Thank you. Customize. If it's not vanilla, it is customized. Okay. All right. Excellent. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, but those are the basic things. All right. Let's quickly some best practices. This best practice we'll talk about in our program as we enter. Again, for my core technical guys, pardon us. We just want to give everybody a fair ground to say, okay, let's all get this together. Then we now execute in the cyberspace. But for all of us, at least, I think these are the core areas, honestly, we should all be up to par to know in general. Now, I think it's fair to say this is the baseline foundation to now build on cyber in general. Okay. I'll skip this, but you can read this up yourself later. This is just saying from a generally when we do OT, we assess the need, we check the architectural design on how the lay of the land of the operation technology environment is. We select vendors. Let me pause on that second for a second. Everybody on this call, if you one of the, I go to conferences a lot, right? Because for us as solution providers too, we want to know the right vendors that make sense. What are the new trends? It's a big deal. And one thing I did in my whole role before was I led vendor relationships. So all the right vendors that I thought for my organization that would be valuable, and I'm talking of the biggest players in the world, really, you know, the biggest you can think of, really. So I'm talking about those guys. You would have to still do the same due diligence you do for a small vendor with the big ones. There's no difference, really. So I'm going to check and say, okay, tell me what kind of training do you provide for us? What are the service level agreements you have? What are the specific issues, your use cases, how it's applicable to my clients. Those are the things we're going to be asking, right? So vendor selection is the same thing for operation technology, really. Then you develop the right policies that fits your businesses. You integrate the system. Now let's pause for a second. Remember again, this is the tricky part. Let's make sure you understand. So think about this. Remember I said operation technology, they have systems that have been using for 50, 60 years. Imagine you going to propose digitizing General Motors plants for a second. They've been around for maybe the last 50, 60 years. So are you saying the same devices they have 50 years ago would still be supported today? Probably not. But they are not going to change it. The beautiful thing about folks that are in plant or operation technologies, if it's not broken, they don't change nothing. And I can feel them. I mean, look, we are getting our bonus, it's working. And all these damn guys telling me about, oh, connecting to the network, and tomorrow we are hearing they're attacking network. If I'm not in the network, I'm not worried of being attacked. That is fair enough. That's reasonable. And that's the reality out there. People just say, you know what, we are not in the network, we are air gap, we are good, we are not worried about it. Because when you get to the network, it becomes wild, wild west. So typically we do something with, okay, can we do like a industrial DMZ? Can we all type that word real quick? Don't care, but just yeah, I'm just making you aware. Let's put it that way. Okay. Put industrial DMZ. Just put industrial DMZ. Typically in IT we say DMZ, right? Demilitarized zone. And that's just saying, if you're trying to attack my environment and there is a firewall, we can have different layers of firewalls and we have an area to protect our environment by doing what we call network segmentation. Can we type that word network segmentation? Don't overthink it. Network segmentation is saying if you come to my house to steal, hypothetically, rather than having you to just pick the safe in my living area, you go through the kitchen, a walkway, a closet, a room, there may be a safe. There are layers of small, small units to get to before you can steal. At the point, if you get to certain places, I can possibly deploy a system to lock other areas. Oh, this place has been violated, they're still in here. Lock every other area, segment and just separate this area that has been attacked because it's segmented. So the idea of segmentation is to say, let's put it in smaller chunks so that our risk is much more manageable. That's the gist about it. So it's a common thing you will hear people say network segmentation, and it's a good practice to segment your network, because if it's not segmented, it means all at once, if somebody penetrates your network, they can steal everything at once versus, um, you know, having smaller layers in which give them work to do, at least if they're stealing. Don't give them an easy access. That's the gist of it. All right. Yeah. I like the word isolation. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Um, one big area I'll just sneak in here, train personnel, very important. We train our personnel. At times we take it for granted, but if you don't train your personnel, they are the easiest targets to attack you all the time. You know, easiest targets because it's easy to send email, and if somebody's gullible, they click an attachment. You don't need to waste your energy. You just steal all their information because they violated their network themselves. Okay. All right. Let's see. These are some key players in the world of, you know, operation technology. Honeywell, ABB. Um, there's one called Rockwall. Rockwall is also there. Uh, Emerson, Yokogawa, then GE. So there are big players there. All right. So that's the story. Whew, we survived this, folks. All right. We survived this. Okay. Now, I hope we did this justice. So what we're going to do is at least we'll get into one area of our cyberspace. Then tomorrow I'll just sneak in and introduce the cover program. So pardon me today, but today I'll still sneak in one area at least to make me know that, okay, like I said, this is the first time I'm doing the foundational overview within our program. because it will put some context around everything we'll be doing going forward. And everybody on the call, please make sure you just go back and refresh yourself on this. Every one of these documents I'll provide, so don't stress it at all. You have access to it, and I'll quiz you on it tomorrow. By the way, the the three I talked about, I'll send it to the WhatsApp group. I'll quiz you on it to make sure that you get the foundation part of it. All right. So let's get into cyber a little bit, real quick, okay? Then there's one topic we'll sneak in today. Then the other ones we'll get into it tomorrow, okay? All right, let's talk about basics of cyber security. All right, basics of cyber security. Let's quickly just talk about basics. All right, let's see. So for today's one, just chill, just relax, and let's just know that today was just our foundation. Then tomorrow we get into the weeds of it. Please, tomorrow make sure you show up early. We're gonna start 5 minutes on the dot tomorrow. All right, but let's quickly get into number 5. All right, because from tomorrow it will be execution. You guys will start working a lot. So get ready for that. All right. So today's our honeymoon. All right. Tomorrow we'll get into action. Basics of cybersecurity. All of us can agree. At the end of the day, we're trying to protect malicious actors from getting into our environment and protect our digital assets from malicious actors. As simple as that. Threats and risk. These are some common ones out there. Malware. These are malicious softwares out there designed to infiltrate or damage our computer systems. Phishing. This is the big one out there. Phishing campaign. Somebody tries to disguise to steal information. Now, let me tell you a real life story. Believe it or not, of course, it's a thing of shame. How many CEO or VP will tell you that, oh, sorry, I was a victim of phishing? I was part of a team that was helping a company that the CEO signed off 250 grand, $250,000 to fake account. This is the CEO. So you can't make this stuff up. This is the top dog that mistakenly paid someone 250 grand. And by the time they figure it out, psh, sorry, gone. DDoS, we talked about it earlier on. This is overwhelming a system with a lot of traffic to disrupt services. So your flooding is like a tsunamis of attack on your network. So it's pretty bad, right? Vulnerabilities, these are some of those popular vulnerabilities out there. Weakness, software bug. You remember we talked about secure software practices? Because if you build a software and there's a bug, that is the bug that people will use to attack you. Another popular one is misconfiguration. How do you configure your systems? So if you misconfigure it, then automatically you've exposed your environment. For example, you could say if your system requires multi-factor authentication and it's not enabled, guess what? You've just exposed your business, your system to an attack. And this happens a lot even for corporates, really. Their infrastructure, access to it is just not set appropriately. And they attack their system because it was not properly benchmarked to leading practices. And it becomes a big scandal. On patch system, this is a huge one. A lot of environment would have, the sad part of it is that they would actually have the updates, the patches sent to them, but they did not install the patch. Let me quickly, can you sneak in something real quick? Can we all type in Patch Tuesday? Can we all type in Patch Tuesday? This is from Microsoft. Can we type in Microsoft Patch Tuesday? So is this second Tuesdays of the month or so? I don't remember. Microsoft always have a patch Tuesday, because Microsoft has a lot of customers, right? So they'll deploy all these patches and say, okay, our patch Tuesday, just go install all the patches to show that all the security they found out, you guys patch your environment. Never run from it. The same thing for your phone or your laptop. If your service provider is pushing a patch, never run and say, oh, I'll do it later. Do it then, immediately. Because many times, you will see a use case down the road in our class, Target case, Target was violated their system. This is the one of the largest retail store in the US. And it was because they did not patch their network. So this was already there, but they didn't just patch it. And don't when I say patch, don't overthink it. I'm just saying your environment has realized there's a security problem and they fixed it and they push it to everybody else to fix their own. If you don't fix your own, then that's on you, right? So it's very important to patch your system immediately. We can all agree on this next one, weak password. Please don't use password as your password. We can guess it so quick, right? It's the same thing. So very important, make those passwords complex. Improper access control. How do you grant access to people? Human error, that's another big one out there, right? So those are things that we're just constantly working and making sure we can rectify. Indicators of compromise, suspicious IP address, suspicious domain names, malicious files. Now, I give you an example, real life story. One of my clients, they are manufacturing. We realized a lot of IP coming from out of the country. And we did research and realized it was coming mostly from, an Asia powerhouse in that case. So we had to make sure that we can isolate and block those IP address from coming into their network, right? Suspicious domain names. Sometimes you see a name that looks weird and it's not something you recognize, you block them. Malicious files. Sometimes when you see those files that you are not soliciting from and somebody sends a file to you, immediately just be at alert and be ready to just, delete those files. Never make the mistake to open any file and find out whether it's malicious. Either you find a way to scan it or send a message to your IT to say, "Hey, this looks suspicious. What do you do?" But never just click on it. It can be a big deal. Detection. Every one of us, most of us, we have detection mechanism in our laptop. You have, I hope you do, have a antivirus, right? The goal is to detect. Now, it does not prevent it, right? But it will detect it. And if it detects a virus, it will probably ask you to isolate it or delete it or whatever it is, right? Some would have also intrusion prevention to say, don't just detect it and prevent it from, you know, causing harm. So detect, prevent, and just remove it. Some depends on how you set up the algorithm with your environment. You can, once it detects, it can remove it temporarily or whatever it is. Then it can analyze the log for you also. Response, and we'll talk about this in the session in our class. Incident response. Can we all type that word, please, everybody, if you don't mind? Type incident response. Incident response. Everybody, thank you. Just type that word, please. Incident response. Your guess is as good as mine. We're just saying, all right, we are going to be attacked. Yes. How do we respond? That's it. How do we respond? Right? How do we respond? Okay. Yep, we got it. All right. So we have eradication. Okay. So let's talk about containment. Containment is saying isolate, you know, to prevent further damage. Eradication, how do we eliminate the malware that we now realize is there? Then recovery, how do we recover from our obstructed operation? Now let's think in something, everybody. When you're doing recovery, incident response, always remember, say recovery, just say equals team and vendor. So you are going to include not just your team. Mostly when you're recovering, you need to include the vendor. I'll tell you why. Think about it. If your technology or solution is Microsoft and you're recovering, you want the vendor to also tell you that everything is good. So mostly we are working not just with ourselves, but also the vendor. If it's AWS, the same thing. If it's Microsoft as well, the same thing. If it's Siemens for operation technology or Rockwell, you want to make sure they are involved. And you say, okay, guys, are we good? Can you run your test? Can you check for us? Because they own and they know their solution more than you and I. So even though you may know it, you want they also to independently say, you're good, you've recovered, there's no more malware, everything is good within your environment. And ladies and gentlemen, don't overthink this. This could be for your MRI machine in your hospital system or your CT scan in your hospital system also. It's the same concept, really. So if there is a potential issue, you're going to bring the vendor that set up those systems in your hospital system to see if the viruses have been removed. As simple as that. It's the same concept, all right? In our program, we're going to use hospital systems. I will use it a lot in my example because it's relatable. Most of us are, if you've not been to hospital recently, at least you have one or two loved ones that you've visited or taken to hospital. So it's relatable to most of us. All right, cool. Okay, awareness. Ladies and gentlemen, ha ha ha. Believe it or not, this is one of the biggest pieces of the puzzle in any security posture. Awareness, awareness, awareness. It's so important we constantly educate our team, clients, customers, vendors consistently. It's an ongoing thing. There's no end to security awareness and training within our organization. It's a big deal. So we have to continue doing it all the time. Key players in general, like we said, these are just some big guys out there. Microsoft, Cisco, IBM, Palo Alto, Fortinet, Trend, CrowdStrike, Mandiant, First, McAfee, Symantec, so many of them out there. Um, General controls, we'll talk about security controls down the road in class, but you can just take a look at this. Access control, we're just saying we are restricting access to only authorized people. That is fair. Encryption is saying encode data to protect the confidentiality and integrity. So we're just encoding the data. Can we all type the word encryption encoding is equals to encoding data? Encryption equals encoding data. Can we do that real quick? Thank you. Let's go. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, that's really the gist of it. Really. All right. Okay, some general framework out there. Don't stress this. We'll talk about framework later, but just to give you some context, there's one called Cybersecurity Framework 2002. There was 2005 ISO 27001. There was another one 2009 modification for CIS. For us, we'll get into NIST and ISO 27001. So don't worry, we got that one covered. We have projects designed for that one big time. So don't stress that at all. Some general laws and regulation, people. GDPR, EPA, GDPR for our European member states, EPA for our healthcare, PCI for our payment card industry, CCPA for our California brethren out there. Then we have the FAPA for the Family Education Rights and Privacy Act in general for our students. So all of these regulations are staring in our face, and we can't afford to screw it up because there are potential financial implications if you screw it up. It's serious, serious fines. All right, that was the gist around that. And don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, you would have access to all of these slides. Okay, no big deal. Please make sure you go through the document I sent to the group earlier on, the video I sent on how to use our learning system and all that stuff. It's all there. Okay, final one before we call it quit today. Okay, okay, sorry, not the final one. Send me to the final one. All right. We have 15 more minutes, but let me just wrap it up with one more final presentation. Then I'll sneak into one of the courses for us before we leave for sure. Yeah, I will introduce us to. All right, let's see. Uh, number 6. Okay, number 6 is similar to what I just talked about, but I just want to make sure I do justice. So I'll be fast on this one. Then we'll sneak into our. Okay, let me see. Are we seeing my screen? Oh, probably not. Let's go back. Okay, the final one is introduction to cyber threats. All right, let's talk about this real quick. Okay, we've talked about the key thing for us is we have to follow the best practices in general, and okay, somebody said difference between framework and regulation. So framework is just a recommendation. You don't have to use it. Regulation, ladies and gentlemen, you have no choice. You have to follow it. If you don't follow it, you'll be fined. Crazy. Framework are recommendation, but it's just good practices. People should follow the framework because it gives you credibility when you're speaking to stakeholders or outside regulators or clients or potential mergers and acquisition because it makes sense. People can relate with that, okay, you've benchmarked your environment to a leading framework, right? It makes sense. So good business. Regulation, you don't have a choice. You have to follow it. That's it. All right, let's go. What are cyber threats? Again, we've talked about this. I'll skip it. We've talked about this. Okay. Why do we need to worry about cyber threats? Data breaches, financial loss, reputational damage, operational disruption, legal liability. These are some key reasons we have to worry. Your organization must worry. multi-billion dollar company must worry because it can lead to reputational damage. Target has yet to recover from the mess that happened almost 10 years ago. So it is serious stuff. People remember. It's crazy. T-Mobile is popular for being hacked all the time too. So it's like a poster child for bridges. So it's sad, right? So people just, it will affect your reputation. So it's bad for business, really. The legal liability, like we said, Facebook was fined billions of dollars or of euros a while back. So this is serious stuff, right? So nobody wants it. It's bad. Most common vulnerability we talk about, the weak password, unpatched software, misconfiguration, lack of backup. These are popular ones out there that people can mess up and cause problems for themselves. What are the ways to reduce risk? We should have strong access control, strong endpoint protection, patch management, backup, and continuous training of our business or end users. Let me quickly sneak in something we all should know. Can we all type in um, endpoint? Anytime you hear the word endpoint, okay, endpoint security, always remember, think about your phone, your laptop, your computer, your server, all of those are endpoints. Okay. Those are endpoints. Somebody can ask you, well, do you guys have endpoint security? That's the gist about it, endpoint. Okay. So just make sure you can talk about that. All right. Cool, 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 cool. All right. Great, 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 great. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Gemini, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. Let's see. Implement defense in depth. Okay. Do me a favor. Ha ha ha. You could just the idea of this, why I sneak this in is in a conversation, if somebody says defense in depth, you can understand, oh, okay, what they are talking about is how do we implement an effective and robust defense within our business. It's fair to say layered security, meaning making sure we have firewall, antivirus, within our environment. And how do we protect our critical systems? How do we implement access control? How do we do our network segmentation, breaking it into smaller chunk, right? Like we talked about. Then finally, let me sneak this one in. Everybody, principle of least privilege. Let's keep it simple. Just give people information to what they need. That's all. Minimal information. If you don't need anything, don't give them anything. Let me give you a real life story. Some years back, I used to do implementation in the world of an enterprise solution called ERP called SAP, right? As I then, SAP was the largest ERP in the world. So I did order to cash implementation, reviews, procure to pay reviews around security controls. Then I did financial statement control for security stuff. Then I was into the GRC and cyber and the security side of it. Okay. Now, when we go into any SAP shop, we will just discuss to the with the CISO and the senior vice president, or whatever their hierarchy is, and say, listen, we're not going to ask your team, we are removing the access, but what we're going to do is this. Anyone that has not used an access for 6 months, we're going to remove the access. If they need the access again, we can provide them access. So the reason is it would reduce our risk landscape, the likelihood of any crazy thing happening, because now, and the funny thing, they will not even know they've removed the access because they don't use it anyway, especially those ones that have not used it for 1 year. So a lot of people they have access that are critical that can cause damage to us. They've had it for 2 years, 1 year, they've never used it. So we're not even asking you a question. You won't even know it was removed. We just go in and remove everything. So all the access are removed. Now, if you need it, we've told your leadership, we can now give it to you. No big deal. Give you the access if it's needed, right? But that has reduced automatically our risk landscape because now access that they had has been removed. That could have cost us unnecessary risk. But anyway, that's the gist about principle of least privilege. Okay. One other thing that is a big deal is always think about. Let me ask you. Let's just talk about this for a second. So somebody said my company is 90 days. I like that. Yeah, that's even better. John. That's even better. Yeah, that's sweet. So it means in 3 months, if you've not used it, then you probably don't need it. That's a fair game. Yeah, yeah, that's fair actually. So I mean, people are very strict about it because you know the scary thing is it takes only one mistake to really embarrass a big corporation. That's the sad part of it, really. It's not like your error margin is so large. One small mistake will really, really mess you guys up. So it's a big deal. Let me ask you, we are wrapping up, don't worry. Why do you think we should be logging and monitoring? Let's talk about this. Enable logging and monitoring. Why do you think so? Why do you think? Let's just think together. Why do you think somebody should be logging and monitoring? I like that. Ooh, Neyo, you're awesome. Man, you guys are awesome. Accountability, response. Now, that that's great, guys. This is awesome. Man, you guys are spot on. Because think about it, really. If you don't have a way to log and track stuff, then how can we keep anyone accountable? How do we know what's going on? It's crazy not to, if you have no way to monitor environment, it's just insane. It's Wild West immediately. So it's important to monitor performance, to monitor behavior, to monitor compliance, and to understand your overall threat. So you guys are right. Detect unauthorized login, non-reputation. It's Busola, Canelechi. You guys are Pedro, Sporton, Neris Benz, avoid threats. Yeah, Lanraju, you're right. Absolutely, Dimeji. Yep. Plateau risk prevention. I agree. Peter, suspicious activity. Solo. Yep. So I mean, that's really the reason, but it's very important. And let me tell you one funny thing. At least historically, maybe now is much better. Do you know in the past some environments forget to enable log monitoring? They would have a system that is not enabled to capture logs. Yeah, they can disable the log. So it means you can disable audit log, meaning I can disable tracking who log into a system. I think now, because of the 21 CFR compliance regulation now that people have to enable log, now nobody wants to build a system that does not have it enabled. But in the past, it was like that. You could go in and disable a log and do stuff and nobody will know what's happened. That's crazy. But this is important, very important, really. Okay, lovely. Love it, guys. Cybersecurity requires vigilance and adaptation to stay ahead of the threat. It's a big one. We have to be vigilant. We have to be adaptive all the time. Okay. And ladies and gentlemen, we survived it. Oh my God. We survived it. And that's it. Now, we have 6 more minutes to go. Okay. Within the 6 minutes, I will just sneak in real quick what the topic for tomorrow would be. Tomorrow, we're going to cover 6 areas. All right. Let me give you a quick snapshot. Number one, asset management. How do we manage an asset, an IT asset? Because all of us have assets at home. Your kid's laptop, your work laptop, your fridge, your ring, your cameras, those are your digital assets and your data too, right? At the end of the day, it's not about having them. How do we protect them? Asset management, we'll get into that tomorrow. Then we get into something called vulnerability management. It's one thing to have assets, but do we monitor and track them for vulnerability? Meaning, do we have antivirus checking our kids' laptop to make sure if there's a threat, we can track it? Big deal. Another one I'll sneak it tomorrow, we'll talk about threat intelligence. How do we gather threats intelligence within our business? Then once we're done with that, we get into something called identity and access management. How do we make sure only the right people have access to critical system, just like we talked about now, principle of least privilege. We'll talk about that tomorrow also. Then we'll sneak in also security incident event monitoring. SIM. How do we make sure we are tracking all the security incidents within our environment. Then finally, we'll talk about incident response tomorrow. So it'll be a lot of fun stuff, a lot of good stuff. Somebody said that's quite a lot. That's why I told you every day, put 1 hour. Believe it or not, by the time you put 1 hour every day, just go through the class again. You'll get more comfortable with it. Go listen to the recording again. It gets easier and easier. So don't stress it. And tomorrow you're going to work on labs. So we talk on a topic, we work on lab on it, talk on a topic, we work on lab on it so that we are more comfortable with it. So don't stress it. But I think that's enough for today. I've overloaded you and it's a pleasure. Thank you. Oh boy. But I mean, yeah. But the good thing is, ladies and gentlemen, to be honest, for anyone that is that has a gap in terms of knowledge in technology, this is it. I think this is the class to bridge that gap. What we talked about today, I took time to analyze all of the areas I feel in an IT environment you need to have an idea of. And I think this is what we need. So I feel pretty good. If you are not a tech person that's never heard of tech, go back and listen to this class, especially this particular topic. Just enjoy it. And I think you'll be caught up. So when we talk tomorrow, a lot of things we'll be talking about, they'll be familiar terms. For my non-IT, for my guru IT people, thank you for being tolerant of us, indulging us to go to the foundation and build the foundation to equalize the team. Tomorrow would be much more relatable with you. You would, we get into some of those specific. We do some projects around it. You'll see it live. Then, we start measuring up together. One thing I'll tell you also, I'm not sure that you know, we will be having, we are using a GRC tool called Risk Rhino. And by the second, third week, you start seeing us getting you guys access into that solution also. All right, that's all we got for today. Enjoy the rest of the day. I can't wait to see you tomorrow. Please show up early tomorrow. Um, I'll kick off 2:05 on the dot so that we can get things going straight up tomorrow. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. God bless, and we'll talk soon. Now, please, if you don't have access, just watch the video I gave to you. Make sure you watch the video, and everything is there. We've laid it down. And Gemini, are you on the call? Gemini, are you available? Let me see. Now you will see me with my program coordinator with me, Gemini. Oh, all right. So Gemini, can you be on video by chance? So she will be helping you a lot. She and I, then I have another team member of mine. Okay, you can all get the video. Once I'm done, I typically upload it and it should be ready tonight. Typically, we do 24 hours, but I think some of you want it early, so I'll make sure I get that ready. And I'll send you the link to the video so that you can actually just watch it directly. Okay. All right. Let me make sure I introduce she's our godmother on this platform. She makes sure everybody's happy and she keeps us accountable. If you guys have questions, if you think I'm just, I talk too much, report me to her. She would make sure we do the right thing. Hey, Gemini, I just unmuted you.
Hi everyone. I hope you had a great time. I can't put on my video right now, but I've been
Okay.
listening in. And yes, I hope you have a great time. You had a great time, and I look forward to a very exciting and impactful learning session with you. My name is Omare on the WhatsApp group, and I will be sending you messages every time. And if you have any feedback, complaints, please reach out to me and I'll make sure they are attended to.
Thank you
So
so
have
much,
a good
Gemini.
night.
Thank you. Thank you, Gemini. All right, cool, cool, cool. All right, cool. If you guys have questions, ping me one-on-one. Some of you, I know you joined me late because I was about to start class and you guys said, I just said, no worries, just join the class. We can connect with me on WhatsApp afterwards, okay? I think that's what we should do. And if you have to reach out, just ping me one-on-one. One more thing. Some of you are not part of there's a community we have that we recommend a lot of our folks to join. It's called, it's a book club, just to kind of get us thinking a lot, because I know everything starts with the mind. So I'm going to share the link here. If you have a minute, just join the link too. It's called ROM. It's a club. We read books all the time, but you can be part of it. I just share the link here, and I'll share it on our WhatsApp group also, just so that we can have access to it also. All right. Enjoy the day. We'll connect tomorrow. Take care, everybody. God bless. See you. And Jamina, you can ping me one-on-one.